Hello folks, welcome back. So I promised you guys I would do a video on Thursday, so I'm going to try to do a video every Tuesday and Thursday, and obviously my mentorship videos will still be Wednesday, midweek, and Friday, or whatever weekend day, depending upon my personal schedule. So it's 4 videos a week. The video I'm showing you here today is kind of like to reinforce the idea, as I mentioned in the previous lesson. I was teaching you secrets to volume and the x-ray view of how price provides us an opportunity pretty much every single trading day. And I'm going to show you the annotations, kind of walk you through it, and talk about a trade I took this morning. And I took a trade here. I sold short here, and I covered below these lows here. Now, stop right there. That's what you see everyone else doing on YouTube. And you're supposed to believe that. You're supposed to believe it. And they're wanting you to give them your time. Some of them want your money. And they have no evidence whatsoever that they know what they're talking about. See, you can look at this chart and say, oh yeah, well, this is one of those optimal trade entries, and it goes up to this order block here, and it went down to these relative equal lows. That's what everyone else is doing. Okay, so as I promised, I would provide you evidence and examples of me executing, and I'm using the medium that everyone else is using now, because MT4 is a joke. It's manipulated. You can scam everybody with it. I personally don't have an MT4 server, but people in the past have always accused me because of where my entries are and how I execute. So now I want you all to look at this. If you think that, tell me how I'm manipulating TradingView. All right, so I taught you in the last teaching that the market will respect the previous day's range, and if it's a sell, it's going to form in the lower 50% of the daily range. All right, so there's a lot of things you can do with that information, but if you couple it with what I taught in my high probability scalping series on this YouTube for free, and couple that also with the optimal trade entry pattern recognition series, you have a complete system. I do talk about money management here in this YouTube channel, and that right there is the final piece of the puzzle. So if you're looking for a way to find profitability and not invest in anyone's courses, you can start here at this YouTube channel. And I'm 100% confident if you put the work into it, you will find a profitable model using what I taught here for free. So think about that, folks. I'm giving you something that is absolutely better than everything else out there for sale for free. Now watch how it's done. Here's the annotations I had on the chart, and here is the bearish order block. Price trades up into it here, comes down, right back up into the order block again. This high to this low, that's your optimal trade entry. So it's this high to that low, optimal trade entry, 62% retracement level, 70.5 sweet spot. It starts to break down, so you know you have a willingness to anticipate lower prices. If it retrades back up into September's low here, September 2nd, daily low rather, September 2nd's high and low, split that range in half, here's 50%. So the annotation I have here is what IPDA does. IPDA is the interbank price delivery algorithm. IPDA limits the expansion to 50% of the previous 24-hour trading period during London protraction phase. Optimal short entries will reside in this dealing range. From this point here down to here, you want to be hunting shorts. So you have a price swing from here to here, it retraces back up in, it drops back down, and I'm going to take a short right on this candle right there. Now you can't really see it because I don't have the executions showing, but I'll put them on now. And I'll show you toggling them on and off. See profit taking and the stop out on the final portion, and here is the other entry, okay, on that candle. So it's the low candle and the high candle I'm entering on, but I'm actually trading on a 1-minute chart, as you'll see. So I want you to see what it looks like on a 5-minute. Here's the 5-minute chart. Okay, and I'm entering on this candle and exiting in here. And again, I'll show you the executions, toggling them on and off. So you can see there's no manipulation whatsoever. Okay, and I'll leave them on now, and I'm going to drop back into a 1-minute chart so you can respect the entry on this candle here. And the profit taken was here, and then I got stopped out on the candle that shows it running here. All right, so that's the details using the information I've already given you freely on this YouTube channel and in the previous lesson. Now I'm going to let you watch me do the execution from entry to close. Hope you found this insightful. Until next time, wish you good luck and good trading. All right, so here is the live execution and management. Shorting 3 million, that's $300 per pip. You see all the confirmations that the orders have now been entered in. 15 pip stop opens the trade, and I'm targeting the relative equal lows. Now later on, I'll move it down a little bit just in case I get a runner, but you'll watch me execute like 80% of the position, more than 80%, that will be closed when we trade underneath these relative equal lows. So I'm already getting a positive confirmation I'm on side, and you might look at that and say, okay, well, isn't that those relative equal highs? Aren't you afraid to get stopped out? No, because we've already went up into the order block once here, and now this is a reclaimed order block. So this is actually a London close short. It's not necessarily a New York session, as I teach it on the YouTube channel in its entirety, but it's overlapping with the same premise because it's most likely going to go lower than it will run this high here. So I'm targeting here in my mind, and I'm focusing on the price action over here. I'm not watching the P&L, even though you guys are probably looking at that number. I'm watching how it's moving back and forth. So I moved down to a 1-minute chart so you can appreciate the entry, and just lowered my stop loss. So at some point you'll see it start to break down, and I'll tell you what we can do with that when it occurs, like it's happening right now. Now there's an order block right in here that it's going to go back up into and hit it, and then you'll see a heavy sell-off. Like right now it's creating a sell-off, but you can be a seller up in here again if it goes up into it. That would be a short right there as well. That's a scalp entry, and you could look for it to run below this low here and then below these here. So even if I wouldn't have gotten in at this point, I could be a seller here. And when it starts to break down, I'm watching price to see if it wants to give me a fast run into those relative equal lows, or if it's taking time. Like I'm looking at that thinking, okay, now that's what I want to see, lower my stop. So now I'm at a point where if the market runs higher, theoretically I'm not going to take a loss, but it can still gap up there, you know, and that would be a problem. But stops are there for our protection as much as we can get. Now it's approaching these relative equal lows over here, and I'll pull up the partial close. So I'm closing 2.8 million or $280 per pip, so it'll remain with $20 per pip on. And I closed it as we went below the lows here. You can see that execution arrow. And I lowered my stop down aggressively, because if it goes back up into this area here and back above this low, I'm not interested in being in the short, and it stops me out there. And now I'm going to show you a better perspective. You can see the actual high and the low that I operated in. Now here's the executions. So I'm going to toggle them on and off after showing you where they are on the chart. So there's where they are. No hindsight trickery. And you'll see them toggle on and off as I put them on for trading view. So I do this just to prove execution and understanding what I'm looking at and how I teach it. Okay, and I'm going to add the annotations back on. As you see in the beginning of the video, they were there the whole time. Hopefully you found this insightful, and I'll try to give you more examples in the future, but this is what I'd like to see more of on YouTube, not people coming online just saying, I took a trade here, and then you're supposed to take their word for it. It just doesn't seem right. So, until I talk to you next time, I wish you good luck and good trading.